I was just trying to think some of the challenges that people face with a long distance relationship. There's several that pose a different challenge than the average relationships. First of all, is you're not there in person to be able to hold somebody's hand, to give them a hug when they're feeling sad, or simply a kiss on the cheek. There's just, but I think when two people meet in person after they've talked for a year or two, I think it's going to be much more impact on how they interact with each other. There's several challenges with the long distance relationship that I've had one successful one in my life. And after chatting a couple years, I flew to her. I already knew in my heart she was the one for me. So I took an engagement ring with me. We talked, we went shopping, we ate together, went to the mall, had different meals at the different restaurants in the mall, and it was everything just clicked, and you just one of those feelings that you just knew in your heart that uh, the two of you were meant for each other. At least that's the way I felt um, when she was. Her family was getting ready to go out already on a pre-planned family outing, so I asked her sister-in-law to take some pictures because I was going to propose to her, and she didn't know that I was going to do that. I already had the ring in my pocket, had the camera. The sister-in-law captured some awesome pictures, and the shocked look on her face. And while I was standing there next to her, she was on my left, so her father was on my right, and I leaned over and I asked him quietly. I said, "Is it okay if I marry your daughter?" And he looked at me and said, "Okay." So I turned back to the left, opened up the ring box, and showed it to her. I said, "Honey, would you please marry me?" And she was just shocked. She was just amazed that I just proposed in front of her whole family. Uh, Afterwards, she said, "Why didn't you get down on one knee?" Oh, well, I guess there's lessons to be learned. But anyway, I think if I have an opportunity to do that again, next time I will get down on one knee. But it worked out. We were married, started making marriage plans, and made them for the following year. I had to return back to the United States, and it was a long year for me. And when I returned, I found out that my arrival date was going to be 2 days in excess of the standard visa uh, entry into the Philippines. So I had inquired, how am I going to extend my visa so that way I can be here for the wedding without having to leave and then return again? So we got some advice, and so when I arrived at the Manila airport, uh, I followed the advice, asked for a visa extension. It was approved, and we got married. I did notice that in the process of taking the required classes, um, the different training, uh, everything, we there was a lot of groundwork that had to be done for a marriage in the Philippines from an American, especially an American who had past divorce that ended in a failure. The Catholic Church is very influential in the Philippines, and one of the things that was required was I had to have an annulment. Okay, I had all that taken care of before I left, so all the paperwork was in order. I scanned and sent everything to my fiance so that way she could turn in whatever she needed to. And the staff at the church was just so awesome working with us to make sure everything was going to be beautiful for a nice wedding. The church that she picked was a very, very large church, in my opinion. It would probably house maybe 1,500 people, but my wife only wanted maybe 100 close friends and family to be there at the wedding. So the church looked like we didn't have a lot of people because it was so large, but nevertheless, it was more special, I think, just having our close friends and family. But anyway, the on the honeymoon, back up a little. After the wedding, we had the reception at the hotel. We had invited the church staff, which we found out later that was the very first time anyone ever thought to invite, the staff that just helped them get married. We were the first. Yeah, we added an extra table to the reception, but it was awesome. The people there at the church at Mount Carmel Shrine in New Manila and Quezon City, they were awesome to work with. The pastor was an American that had been in the Philippines for 50 years. He was very, very helpful with making sure that, that we knew all the trials and tribulations that was going to happen, marrying a foreigner like that. Everything was wonderful. But getting back to the honeymoon, I learned that she said it was very painful to touch her. Her left breast had a lump. And so after the honeymoon, we've had a family outing. But I knew in my mind, we need to get her checked. So after all of that, and we got her checked at St. Luke's Hospital, and it was learned that she had breast cancer. They did surgery, removed the breast, but when they did the mammogram on her to make sure that there was a lump in what it was, I believe in my heart it was that compression of the breast that caused that tumor to burst and spread. And so when they removed her breast, she was already stage 3 cancer. To make a long story short, we were married for 13 months before she passed away. And it happened the day after my birthday. And it was every year at my birthday, I remember the loss. But anyway, those are some of the challenges that long distance relationships have. You never know what's in store for a person and a couple. With technology, it's very important to be able to see your partner on cam to talk, to find out how their day went. Is there any news? Do I need to send any more documents? It's just, there's a lot of challenges. And what I'm learning now, these online dating sites, seems like most of the girls are only looking for foreigner to send money, to be able to chat with them. And I'm about ready to give up on the whole 9 yards. I'll just stay single, die alone, and it is what it is. Well, thanks for watching.